All right, today we're jumping into a book that, no joke, completely changed the game for young adult fiction. And get this, it was written by S.E. Hinton when she was still a teenager. We're talking about loyalty, class warfare, and a really deep look at what it truly means to be a hero. So, yeah, let's get right into it.
So let's start with, honestly, one of the most iconic opening lines in all of literature. With just this one sentence, we are dropped right into the head of our narrator, a 14-year-old kid named Ponyboy Curtis. You immediately get a sense of who he is. Just a kid who's into movies, and you can already tell, feels a little bit on the outside of things.
Okay, so at the absolute core of this story is this intense social conflict. You've got a town that's basically split right in two with these two rival groups. And you really have to get this divide to understand why everything else unfolds the way it does. So let's actually break down these two sides, right? First up, you've got the Greasers. They're from the poorer east side of town. You can picture it, greased back hair, leather jackets, but they've got a ton of heart. They're really less of a gang and more of a family they built for themselves. And on the other side, you've got the Socs. That's short for socials, by the way. These are the rich kids from the west side. They've got the fancy cars, the modern certs, and they're all about being cool and aloof. It's almost more like a country club than a gang.
For Ponyboy, though, Greaser isn't just some label. I mean, after his parents died, his whole world became his brothers, Derry and Soda Pop, and this super tight-knit group of friends. You've got Johnny Cade, who's kind of the gang's shy, vulnerable pet. Then there's Dallas Winston, or Dally, the toughest guy you'll ever meet. And of course, Two-Bit, the wisecracking joker. The point is, they have each other's backs, because a lot of the time, nobody else does. And this is where these two completely different worlds just collide. It all goes down at a drive-in movie, of all places. Ponyboy and Johnny end up talking to a couple of sock girls, and one of them is this cheerleader, Cherry Valance. And for the first time, Ponyboy's not looking at a sock and seeing an enemy. He's seeing a real person.
This moment right here, this is where we get to the absolute heart of the story. Cherry tells him that having money doesn't mean the Socs don't have problems. Her saying, things are rough all over, man, that just opens Ponyboy's eyes. He starts to get that, even if their problems look different on the surface, everybody's got something they're fighting.
And this new way of seeing things, it gets put to the ultimate test almost right away. We're about to hit the novel's huge turning point. We're talking about one single, fateful night filled with anger and fear that changes absolutely everything for Ponyboy and Johnny. There's no going back after this.
So, it all kicks off at home. Ponyboy's feeling totally misunderstood by his oldest brother, Derry, who's also his guardian. They get into this big argument, and Derry just loses it and slaps him. Now, this has never happened before, so Ponyboy, feeling hurt and furious, just bolts from the house to find his best friend, Johnny.
So there they are, in this empty park late at night trying to cool down. And then, a blue Mustang rolls up. And guess who it is? It's Bob, Cherry Valance's boyfriend, with a car full of his sock buddies. And they are not happy. They're drunk, they're mad that Ponyboy and Johnny were talking to their girlfriends, and you can just tell they are itching for a fight.
Things get bad, and they get bad fast. The Socs grab Ponyboy, and they start shoving his face into the freezing cold water of the fountain. They're holding him down, and he literally can't breathe. In that moment, he's sure he's about to die.
Johnny sees this happening, sees his best friend being drowned, and he just snaps. You have to remember, these are the same guys who had beaten him so badly before that he was left completely traumatized. So he does the only thing he can think of. He pulls out the one thing he always carries to protect himself, his switchblade.
And then, just like that, it's over. The Socs let go of Ponyboy, he's coughing, gasping for air, and when he looks up, the Socs are running away. But Bob is on the ground, not moving. Johnny, trying to save his friend, killed him. And right there, in that one single moment, they go from being greaser kids to being fugitives on the run.
Okay, so they are absolutely terrified. They have no idea what to do, but they know one thing for sure. They have to run. And there's only one person they can think of who's tough enough, who's street smart enough to help them. They go straight to Dally Winston. And Dally, he doesn't even blank. He immediately hooks them up with a loaded gun, $50, and a solid plan. He tells them, hop the freight train to this little town, Windricksville, and lay low in an old abandoned church on Jay Mountain. He says he'll come for them when the coast is clear.
So here they are, hiding out in this creepy, dusty old church, totally cut off from everything. And to pass the time, Ponyboy starts reading Gone with the Wind out loud to Johnny.
And Johnny, the kid everyone kind of writes off, is just completely fascinated by it. He's totally drawn in by the idea of these Southern gentlemen and their code of honor.
Their little hideaway life gets completely shattered. They come back to the church one day, and it's on fire. A full-on inferno. And worse, there's a bunch of little kids trapped inside. Without even thinking, these two boys who are, remember, wanted for murder, they just run right into the flames to save those kids. They go from criminals to heroes, just like that.
But that heroic act, it ends up kicking off this final, absolutely devastating series of events. It's like the violence they were running from just came roaring back, and the price they all end up paying is just unbelievable.
So while Johnny's in the hospital, badly burned, the Greasers and the Socs have their big final rumble. And the Greasers win. But it doesn't solve anything. It feels totally empty. Right after, Ponyboy and Dally rush to the hospital, and they get there just in time to watch Johnny die. And Dally just loses it. Johnny was the only thing he ever loved. He can't handle it. He robs a store, pulls an empty gun on the cops, and basically forces them to shoot him. He wanted to die. And he did.
But before he dies, Johnny leaves Ponyboy with these final words. He tells him, "Stay gold, Ponyboy. Stay gold." He's talking about that Robert Frost poem they read together in the church. And that one phrase, it becomes this guiding light for Ponyboy.
So what does that even mean, stay gold? Well, for Ponyboy, it's all about holding on to the good part of yourself. You know, your innocence. The part of you that can still see the beauty in a sunset, that hasn't been hardened by all the tough stuff in the world. It's about not letting the world make you jaded.
After everything, Ponyboy is just a complete mess. He's got a concussion from the rumble, he's totally in denial about what happened to his friends, his grades are tanking, he's disconnected from everyone, and this whole world of fighting just feels so pointless and never-ending.
He's about to fail English, but his teacher gives him one last shot. He says, write an essay, a theme about something you care about. And that's when it clicks for Ponyboy. That's when he finds his purpose. Look, he can't bring Johnny or Dally back, but what he can do is tell their story. He can tell it for them, and for every other kid out there who gets judged just because of their haircut or what side of the tracks they're from.
And this is the brilliant part, the big reveal of the whole book. The very first sentence of the story, it's the first sentence of the essay he starts to write. The entire book you just read is the assignment. Ponyboy takes all his pain, all that tragedy, and turns it into this powerful story for everyone else to understand.
When you get right down to it, The Outsiders is all about the power of seeing things from another person's point of view. Ponyboy found a way to make sense of it all by writing it down, turning his pain into something that could build a bridge to other people. And it kind of makes you think, right? What story could you tell about your own life that might completely change how someone else sees your world, and maybe even you? Where would you even begin?